G'day, I'm Appy Dave, and this is behind the scenes on how I'm streamlining my live streams. And what we're going to do is look at Gamma.AI, we'll look at the agent workflow builder, and this all came about because this morning I did a live stream, and the live stream was on using Perplexity on the Mac. And when I do a live stream, I need to prepare for it. So when I decided to do this live stream, it's because a notification popped up on my computer saying you can use Perplexity on the Mac. Now that product's been around for about 3 months, but I thought, oh, let's install it and let's live stream it. But I didn't have a plan of action because it was off the cuff. It just happened. And later on today, I'd like to do a live stream on building micro apps or teaching people that don't know how to code how they can actually prepare themselves to write simplistic little applications using requirements documents. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that particular live stream, I need to prepare for it. So what we're going to do in this particular video is we are going to come over to the agent workflow builder, where we've got this idea that we're about to start off with. Let's just go duplicate this. We're doing the YouTube Quick Start Planner. Maybe this should be called YouTube Livestream Planner, but essentially we've got these 6 steps, and these 6 steps were developed earlier in the week. And what happened when I went to use it this morning on the Mac Perplexity Setup and Explore system was that these 6 steps that we can see here, what I went through, were not enough. I probably need about 12 steps. There were things that were just missing from the setup, such as the title of the YouTube video, the YouTube description. What are some common answers to some of the questions that I wanted to cover in the live stream? What was a image prompt that I might want to generate so I can have some nice artwork? Because currently the live streams that you might have seen this week, there is absolutely no artwork going on because I haven't integrated it into my workflow. And I have a cold for a month or so. If you've been watching these, you know I have that. So I've just muted as I coughed. So let's come and have a look at the workflow that I think I want to do a video on. And it basically looks like this. Create one-shot prompts. So that's a prompt where it does all the work for building micro apps using an AI pair programmer. So there's plenty of these tools out there that will code for you. You just need to give them the instructions. So that's what we want to do. And who would want to use it? Well, computer programmers probably want to know this, but they're not my target audience. My target audience are really people that don't know how to code but want to build automation. So want to do some coding. They think, oh, that's starting to look easy with AI pair programmers, and it certainly is. So my target audience is the coders, but it's also the ordinary non-coders who want to create an application. So what I'm going to do is just copy this information here, and we're just going to go and jump into ChatGPT. We'll do a new one, and we'll just paste this information in. We've got our initial purpose, and we've got our target audience, and what we're trying to, well, actually, this is what we're trying to create, is the initial video purpose and the target audience. So when we look at this, we go, demonstrate step-by-step methods to create concise, effective prompts for building functional micro apps using AI pair programmer tools. Let's zoom in a bit. With a focus on practical application and ease of replication. The video will guide users to leverage AI to automate coding tasks, streamline development, and create robust apps effectively. Now, this is not the actual purpose. This is a little bit off kilter, and we will fix it here before we move on. But let's look at the target audience. Tech-savvy individuals, including beginner to intermediate coders and non-tech entrepreneurs. Yep, great. Leveraging AI to create apps, cool. So let's alter the video purpose. The video purpose that you've listed is fairly good, but not quite what I planned to demonstrate. What I actually plan to demonstrate is an understanding of how to structure a requirements document. What we'll be looking at are the sorts of inputs that would be useful before we create a requirements document, plus the sort of constraints that we might want to put on it so that the requirements document isn't too big or doesn't cover areas that we're not ready to write code for. Can you change the video purpose so that it includes this additional information? And so now we've got effectively explore how to effectively structure requirements documents for building micro apps using AI pair programming tools. I think we can jump into this mode right now. And what we'll do is the video will focus on identifying and organizing useful inputs, defining constraints to maintain concise and relevant document and ensure readiness for code implementation. It will guide videos on balancing detail and scope to create actionable, well-defined requirements documents. Looks really good to me. So let's move on and put that as the purpose of the video. And the goal, I think, is okay. Yeah, this is great. That didn't need to change the audience. So let's move on. And now we go into the next phase. So the first phase was input and concept definition. So we got our initial purpose, we've got our initial audience, we've got our video purpose, we've got our target audience with more clarity. At this stage, there's nothing wrong with this section. This section, I think, is working okay. So we move on to the next section. And what we're trying to do here is come up with a video goal. Well, we need to do that. So let's just pop in here and say we've got our target purpose. And I'm just going to click on this right here and generate one more time. So what we've got is, here is our video purpose. Here is our target audience. And what we'd like to generate is a goal and a concept. So we'll press enter on that and see what it comes up with. And while that's happening, move on to this project planning where we're going to put this information. So the video goal, empower videos to create concise and actionable requirements documents for micro apps using AI tools by teaching them how to organize inputs, define constraints, and align scope with the readiness for development. Perfect. So it's not about building the application, it's about building the document that builds the application. So we'll put that in as a video goal. And the concept, a step-by-step walkthrough that combines practical examples and clear explanations to demonstrate structuring a requirements document. The video will feature real-world scenarios, visual aids, and tips for... This is why I don't use a teleprompter, because I can't read and talk. And tips for balancing detail and scope, ensuring the document is effective and aligns with the app development process using AI pair programmers. And they're a different beast to a real programmer. Geez, that's a bad term, isn't it? To a human programmer, because they think differently. They do things differently. They can be so much more productive, but they can also make some really stupid mistakes. So you got to think about an AI pair programmer different to how you think about a computer, a human pair programmer. So we'll put that in for the concept. Now, what I'd like to do is get a project name for all of this. So as we record this video and we jump down to my folders, we can see that this is video number 6 in the A series, and it's got the descriptive name called XYZ. So when I hit save on this video or on this live stream, the file will go here. But that XYZ is a bit of a problem. It needs to be a better name than that. And so what we need is a project name. So I'm going to come over and we're going to use the information we have, the goal, the concept, and we're going to come up with a list of project names, and then we're going to select one of them. So we'll just come in and pick over here, and paste this information in. Might have some tea while this is going. Micro app requirements, AI driven dots, prompt to requirements. This is good. That's my friend. I'm just gonna take that, and you won't be able to see what I'm doing right now unless I turn this on. I'm just gonna make sure that there's a comma between each of these and do that, and we'll pop in back to the web view, and this is where this application that I'm building needs a little bit more work over time. We got our project names, but we'll come back to the list that's here and go with the one I really like. I want prompt to requirements for micro apps. I want to be quite specific in what I do here. I'm going to put that into the project name. And so I like to have project names that are simple. They might have keywords in them. That can be useful, but they are not YouTube titles. They are not marketing titles, H1s. They're just the basic name that conveys a lot of meaning to you when you're putting it into the folder. But there's also information in there that can direct the nature of any script or article that you write, in that you say, I want you to create an article and here's a whole lot of context I want, but here's your focus. And your focus would be prompts to requirements for micro apps. Pretty simple, right? So we go, okay, we've got this information. Is there anything else in here we need? No, we're just storing that information. So now we need a content outline. What do I plan to talk about in this video? And I have an idea, but now that I've given it this information, we should be able to paste this in and get a concept outline that's quite detailed. So when I do that video, introduction to requirements documents for micro apps, that's important. Define what it is, the importance, highlight how AI tools simplify the process. Not quite, but that's okay. Set the context, yes, important, and a brief overview. So these are things I'm going to want to talk about in the next video. Gathering and organizing useful inputs, user goals, app features, technical specs. Yeah, cool. I need to go a bit simpler than that because these are one-shot prompts for micro apps. They shouldn't do too much. So the goals need to be a little bit simpler. Where it's got technical specs too, one of the things that I find with working with AI coders is that they are often geared towards certain technologies. So that's why I've also added in here a constraints. Have we got it? To demonstrate examples. Oh yeah, it's the next section. Define constraints to maintain focus. So often this is about knowing what the AI pair programmer can do and make sure that we don't talk about certain things. That'll make sense in a different video. Ensure readiness for development. Discuss how to assess if the is actionable. Yeah, okay. And real world examples. So this is great. So I've kind of got a plan of action. I could now theoretically go and start a new live stream, and I've got the outline of what I want to talk about. But there's so much more you got to do when you do a live stream. You got to get the title right. You got to get the thumbnail. You got to get the description. You got to be able to answer these questions, right? And because this has just been generated by AI, I've got to switch context and go, oh, what's the topic? And it might be nice if the AI told me what the answers are as well. So what we'll do is we will just grab all this information. It's called the content outline. We'll take it all the way down to the bottom, and we will just paste it all the way in here, I think. Is there a 2 in here? 2. Yeah, it's there. So it was only the one that was missing. And we'll press copy on this and go over to actually we won't do that. We'll come over here and we'll identify the calls to actions. So now that we have the content that we want to talk about, what are the calls to actions? And this is where this morning I had a lot of problems. And it's an area we want to talk about. So let's just go down to what I was working on this morning. So this is the underlying instructions for making the screen that you're looking at. And this happens to be the YouTube quick shot planner. Maybe if we bring up code and view, we should be able to see things a bit clearer. What page are we on? We are on identify CTAs. So we'll just go for identify. And you can see we've got a video goal, we've got a target audience, and we've got a content outline, and video goal, target audience, content outline. So you can see the mapping of information going on here. But I said, okay, goal should be able to enter in a code so that I can generate a folder name. So this is basically a field that I would like to have had when I was back on this page here. We'll just go back to here and we'll go to define the goal, and we'll go to the project planning, and we've got the project name, and it's come in here. Essentially, I wanted a code, and you would have noticed earlier when I was talking about the folders that it's currently called A06XYZ, and ideally what I want this to be is A06 prompt to requirements for micro apps. That's how I want to name it. So one of the things that I was saying to myself this morning is I do need a field for this. Then I said answer the questions. So at the moment I've got a prompt that generated the project name. We were just looking at that, and then it generated the content outline. We've just looked at that as well, but I need to answer some questions. Now, it looks like I've put that in the wrong spot. I think I need to do it after the content outline. So what we should be able to do is come back here and bring up our GPT and think about this. And do I want the CTAs first, or do I want the answers first? I think I want the answers first. So can you have a look through this content outline, and if anything looks like a question, can you give me a short answer to the, and can you put it into its own section called, let's say Q&A, where you have a short question based on the information you saw in the content outline, and you have an answer that's less than 20 words. So there may be a reason for me to modify what's going on in here, and if that was the case, I would have said so. I would have had a bit of a conversation with the AI before I get onto this. But after that, I do want to go into this next step. It says, what is a requirements document for micro apps? And it says, it's a structured plan outlining goals, features. Great. How? I'm going to assume this is okay, because part of this video is not about checking whether the next video is okay. But I do now know that I've got all this Q&A information that I can use as I develop the next presentation or the next video. So what we'll do here is we'll come back to this VS Code, and for now, I am ultimately going to need a prompt in here called, we'll call it answer questions, and this is the file that I'm going to put it into, and this is sample prompt. We'll just put the information that I just put into ChatGPT, and later on I'll come in and make sure it's in this file and it's hooked up to the fields correctly. So we can call that done. So what's next? We now need to do the CTAs. So we got the answer to the questions, we got the identifying CTAs. So if we come back to our web view and we go, and we'll bring up GPT as well. So we've got our Q&As. Let's find some calls to action that could actually be in a script like this. Now, you might be thinking, because I'm thinking this, are we at a point where we should even be doing CTAs just yet? And maybe not. And this is why I go through these processes, because it allows me to think through through doing about whether something is actually in the right location, because maybe it doesn't need to be done until the end. But I'm going to take this prompt here, which is going to take our video goal and our audience, and it's going to figure out a bunch of CTAs. So we'll copy that and we'll paste it in over here. And we'll have a little bit of tea as this is going. Download the free checklist template for creating requirements documents. So this is where I ended up having a lot of problems this morning, because it came up with all these CTAs, and there's way too many for a video. The CTAs that I currently want with my live stream are really simple. It's just like, would you like to work with me doing this sort of stuff? Like one-on-one sessions where we look at one of your workflows and we go, well, how would I go about automating it? So when you think of that, that's only one CTA, but we've got 7 here. But as I go through with this, I need to refine this, and this is where I realized I needed a few more prompts, or I need to alter this particular prompt that generates this list so it gives a more refined idea. The problem with that technique, though, is that depending on the sorts of videos, it can just be different. So I think I need to refine after the fact. So what have we got here? We got download a free checklist template for creating requirements documents. If I had one, that would be a perfect CTA. But I don't have one, so it's not very useful to us. Try structuring requirements documents using the techniques shared in this video. That's a really weak CTA. Yeah, it should be in there, but I'm not going to write it into the script. It's just something that you'd want to do at some stage. Subscribe for more tips on using AI tools in app development. That's something I do automatically right at the end. I've trained myself to say, hey, I'm Happy Dave. Please like and subscribe. Share your experience or questions. This is a good one. This is an interesting CTA that we could use. And then we got follow us for updates. Well, again, that's the same as the like and subscribe. It's just different wording. Join our community. I don't have one yet, so I can't do that one either. Watch our next video to see how to implement. Now, this sort of CTA is useful, not useful for the type of video I'm doing in the live stream. I use this a lot more in my Happy Dave channel, where I'm talking about previous videos in a series, focus, and the next video in a series. So what I did figure out this morning, let's just go to a web view, a VS Code view, is modify CTAs. How does the current modify CTAs? How does the current CTAs seem? Are they incomplete? Okay. So this is a prompt I think we need. Let's just remove that for a second. Which CTAs to keep? Just tell it which ones I want. Okay. So I need a prompt. And what else we got? CTAs should use my own words, tones. So there's also another prompt I need for tone change, in that if we go back to this web view or GPT view and we look at them, I don't tend to talk this way. There's nothing wrong with the CTAs, they're good, but I don't talk this way. So whatever calls to actions I have at the end, they need to be reworded to my tone, and the best way to do that is to have examples of how you've said things in the past and say, oh, can you take the CTAs that we've selected, but can you rewrite them in my tone? So let's look at the first prompt, which is just a subset. I only want a subset of CTAs, generally never more than 3. So we're doing something that will limit it. It shouldn't go over 3. But in this case, I'm also going to say, I currently like, and we go with that one, even though I don't have one. Go with that. I really liked that one. That's one I do want to say, I think. And like and subscribe. So what I'm kind of doing here is writing a prompt. It's very on the fly. This needs to be improved a whole lot. But once I've done that, what I should be able to do is add it into my workflow, and we'll just come up to the workflow for a second. And it can be after the identify CTAs. It can be refine CTAs, might be the good one to call it. So we might just come back to this name and say, I want a refined subset of CTAs, ever more than I currently like. And this is where maybe I can put in the tone into this prompt. The prompt that would deal with the tone of who I am generally would be another step, but this is such a little prompt, we could do it here. My brand is Appy Dave. I love saying, please like and subscribe at the end of the video. So we'll just do that one. And let's just see what we get. We've got CTA ideas. We've got 7 of them. Hopefully we're only going to get 3. We did, because that's what we said. Download the free checklist. Okay. Share your experience or questions about, please like and subscribe to Appy Dave for more videos. This is perfect. So we're just going to grab this information, come back over and just drop them into the list. Now, we will just move on to the next step. So what we've done, this is the other thing, is as I'm developing this, I will copy all of this information. We'll go down to our Visual Studio view and say identify CTAs, and we'll add in this information as all it is really. I only want, and I'm going to turn this into a prompt a bit later on, maybe on the weekend. We'll see what happens. We got that. And I think we need one more. Book a one, schedule per. What I'm going to do is take this information. I'm going to come back to GPT over here, and I'm going to say, let's remove download the free checklist and add one more CTA based on people connecting with me. And we'll say that. And all I'm going to do is paste in all that information that I collected earlier today. Here is some guidance. And it comes through. So what have we got? Book a one-on-one session with Appy Dave to master agent workflows and tools. So cool. We got share your experience. This is something I would want to say somewhere in the middle of the video. This is something I want to say right at the end in the recap. And this is something I want to share right at the very end in the bookend, whatever, the outro, whatever you call it. So we'll take this new list and we'll come back to our GPT plus web and we'll update it because that's a bit wrong. And now, was there anything else I had? Identify CTAs, deliver the brief. Okay, so now we start getting into a new set of ideas that we need to expand on. So we'll go over to deliver the video brief. And this is where I had a whole lot of problems in the last video because it's just not, it's not correct. And I think it's best just to show it. So we'll click on it, go to our GPT view and we'll paste it in and see what it comes up with. So what it should be doing is taking the plan of action on what the content should be. It should be taking the CTAs and it should be, ideally I want to see a script. Now that's not what it does. Instead it gives us this. We got this project overview. This is, by the way, these first two are beautiful. They're exactly what I want to see. The video, prompter requirements for micro apps, guides viewers in creating concise and actionable requirements documents for micro apps using AI tools. It covers inputs, constraints, readiness. Great. So This can also be an article, like a press release of what's coming up next week. It could go into your community tab. Then we got the content structure, and that's pretty much everything that we talked about before. Okay, then we got some visual elements, and it's this stuff when I'm doing a live stream that this is a curiosity, but not something I need. Okay, because the live stream's dynamic. It's going to be whatever it is. Animated flowchart showing blah, blah, blah. Where this information could be useful is with thumbnail generation, stuff like that. Then we got key takeaways, which is, again, good for me to reflect on, but not really useful for me for other points of view. And the production notes, like video length, totally useless. So I think a couple of things are going on here. I think the prompt needs improvement to especially get rid of stuff that I don't need for this particular solution. And I also really only want these two bits of information plus the calls to action. So if I just head over to VS Code view and go write a content brief script as a combination of the content structure followed by okay, that wasn't quite what I wanted. In fact, I know that that's not exactly what I said in a previous thing. So this was me playing around with it this morning, I think. What is perplexity? Right, a content, that's what I want. That information right there. So we go back to our VS Code, and I don't have it in there, but we will just paste that. And we'll say, write a content brief with the following 3 sections taken from above. So this is the prompt that I need to do. And if I was doing it, I would call it, we've delivered the brief, finalize the brief. This would be a prompt called finalizing the brief. It's basically these 3 sections. And so we will take that prompt as it stands. We will go over to our VS Code, and we'll go to our GPT view, and we'll go and find the video chat that we're working on. It's this one, and we'll just paste it in. We don't really need these hashes. I don't think it'll cause any grief, but I'll remove them anyway. Write a content brief with the following 3 sections. So it's going to take the overview that we've had above. That's good. It's going to take the content structure, which is also good. And then the last bit, the stuff that I need to think it through before going into recording the video, is what are the questions and answers? And we'll just look at what is it? Is it a structured outline, etc. So we got some great information. So now we've got a content brief. There was another bit of information that we need to do. We probably, before I hit record, I need to come up with a YouTube title. I need to come up with some information. I need to come up with a presentation. Okay, let's do a presentation. I talked about at the beginning of this that we'd look at Gamma.AI because it's such a cool tool. Now, coming back to VS Code, we got prepare the Q&A for Gamma.AI. Okay, so what does that actually look like for us? And I think if we come to here, we did that. Did you create a prompt? Yeah, that was more for the visuals. You know my project name. You are a specialized. Okay, this is the title generation, so we'll go with that. Okay, I'm a little bit out of order. Do I want the presentation right now? I want the titles. I want the titles. Let's do that. So let's look at the one, what I did for titles. We come through to here. We go, you know my project name, can you? And then I did this. So where did I get this information from? Come back to our web view for a second. And I'm just going to pop up my 30-step launch formula. This is all the stuff I go through whenever I'm doing a regular video on Appy Dave. And one of the things I've got to do in here are come up with title ideas. And this is the essential prompt that I use. It's right there. So we're just going to copy that information for now. And then we're going to come over to our GPT view. And I said, you know my project name, can you? Right, so let's come down to here and do that. You know my project name. This is part of the prompt. Can you... And we just paste it all in. Now, all this context above us should be everything that it draws on to solve this particular problem, and we'll end up with a bunch of titles. Now, if we go and look at the live stream as it's running, we are in the middle of a live stream, and I'll just hit refresh here, and that's it. And I manually did this. How I streamline my live streams, Gamma.AI plus Agent Workflow Builder. And I did that because I didn't have this, I didn't have this capability all at hand. But now I have the capability at hand, we're just seeing it. We should end up with a nice sort of YouTube title that we can at least get started on. We might want to use vidIQ or another tool to come up with a better title, but this is a great way to get started just based off the brief. So master requirements docs for micro apps with AI tools 2025. How to create actionable micro app requirements. Nah, so good. Simplify micro app development, AI powered requirements documents. See, these are really good names that we can get started with. They use power words at different times, simplify, organize, whatever. They use concepts like 2025, what are known as stats. We got the easy guide. Maybe there's beginners in there, who knows. I could actually ask some questions here and improve it, but we go, no, this is great. And we would want to then give it a focal point. So earlier on, we made the presentation or the project name the focal point, but now we're about to go into the YouTube description. And the YouTube description would probably need to know what the YouTube title is going to be. If we were doing thumbnail text, I use this same technique. I want to know the title because I kind of want to use words that are not the same, but are complementary to the YouTube title. So let's just pick one. Step-by-step guide to writing micro app. Okay. This will be our YouTube title. And I'm just going to say read, because all I want it to do is take note. I don't actually want it to reply with anything. Hopefully it'll just say please, read and please and absorbed or something like that. Now at the moment, memory, I'm hating the way memory works in ChatGPT. But absorbed, how can I help? That's all I wanted it to do. So now we've got a YouTube title for the next video that we're going to do. But when I create a live stream, you have the ability to put in the description, so we should be able to do that. Now let's come back to the 30-step formula. And I do have a simple description area and a YouTube Shorts description area. So let's look at them both. We got the simple description area. That's the prompt we would use for that. And that's probably good. It takes an abridgment. In our case, we've got something else. And then YouTube Shorts also has create a Shorts description. It's probably very similar. Okay. Notice that it takes a title. So I might just take all this information. We'll head it over to our GPT and we'll paste it directly in and say, craft an engaging YouTube title for a behind the scenes live stream. We'll just say live stream actually, because if I did the behind the scenes, I'm probably going to get it into the title, and that's probably not what I want to see. And then we're going to need a title. Now, this I would add into the workflow so that it's just filled in for us. But for now, we'll just take the information that we had right here. Keep the description to less than 1,000 characters. Use this title for guidelines. We don't need that because we've already done. And we'll just generate it. So now what we should be doing is looking at the content plan, the questions and answers, and we write an effective YouTube description. Now, this is not the way I do YouTube descriptions on my Happy Dave channel, because the input from that is actually what I said. It's not a script beforehand, it's the actual transcript afterhand, if that's the right way of saying it. But we haven't recorded the video, so we can't do that. So learn how to create clear, look, this is all good. So now we've got a description, we've got a YouTube title. I'm just going to go back to VS Code and think of the other thing that I missed. Generate a title, okay, image prompt. So we need an image. So if you were doing a thumbnail, or even if you were just doing a presentation, and I didn't start this with a presentation, you want something visually appealing. Now, we can just, we'll take this and we'll come back to our GPT and we'll say, can you create a prompt for generating an image? Do not create the image, because I only want the prompt. And using the title, I think. Let's go with that. The title and description for inspiration. Now, in the workflow builder, these fields would be filled in, and so it would just be added in like this. That'll be fine, but we're doing it manually because we haven't built the workflow steps. And now we're getting a prompt. And we go, okay, great. Now you can test this out in DALL-E 3. We can say create image aspect 16:9, and we'll let that do its thing. But I prefer to use Gamma.AI, so we'll just copy that. Create the image. That's better. And we'll come back to Web GPT view and pop it in over to not Gamma. That's what we'll talk about next. Let's talk about Leonardo AI. This is where I did an image this morning on Perplexity. We can see it there and it looks pretty good. And now we're going to go to home. I don't know how to get to create image quickly. Let's go to create image, paste it in. I'm going to go with, now that was not the prompt, I don't think. I'm just going to, that's the prompt. I'm going to use 16:9. I don't need to say aspect ratio 16:9. And I'm going to go with Ultra, which is going to cost me 68 credits, and I'm going to start generating. Now, while that's happening, let's have a look at the one that's come through. Oh, that's not easy, that's better. Go to GPT and say structured dots, user goals. Yeah, okay, it's all right. Like it, it's not too bad. Back to our web view, and it's really emphasized on the 2025. Not, that's got it totally wrong. That one's more accurate. Now the text is poor here. This is good. So this could be a good image. The only thing I don't like is that it used the 2025. Let's call it requirements. We'll just go requirements. That'll do. Maybe it should be technical requirements. And so now I have this nice image coming to hand, which I can at least, when the presentation starts, the live stream starts, I've got a video. I've got a background that I could put behind me. I could put my green screen up and it could just be showing behind me. That'd be a nice thing. And we have a look at what we got here. We got requirements. Very nice indeed. I think I like the first one. So let's go copy that because, well, we'll come back to that. Let's go over to Gamma.AI. Let's turn this whole thing into a presentation. So we'll come into GPT, and what we will do is content brief. We got some Q&As. Do I want the Q&As? Yeah. I'm going to take all of this information. I took too much. And this is, again, where I would, what I'm about to do manually, I would put into a workflow just to make my life a lot easier. And I'm going to go down to the bottom and say, just add a single call to action from earlier about Happy Dave working one-on-one. Let's just make sure that's in there. And this is a time when I often like to go into canvas mode as well, turn these into documents. I love working in that particular capability, but it has some bugs I've noticed as well. So I'm not seeing, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, great. So we can take all of this information, we grab it, and we'll come over to a web view, and we're going to go into Gamma. I said grammar. So Gamma.AI, what a cool piece of software this is. So we'll press create new, and we're going to paste in text, and we're just going to take everything we've got. So the presentation that we're about to do could actually be done as a presentation pretty quickly. Now I don't know how to use this. We'll just say presentation, that looks good. Generate or continue. And Bob's your uncle. 8 cards, continue, 40 credits, what I got, 320. And pick a theme. And we'll go and pick something closer to my brand color. I couldn't figure out whether they actually had a brand color overlays that you could do. Maybe they do. That's a little bit too pink for my liking. This is not what I want, but we'll go with it. And we'll just say generate and see what happens. Now, while that's happening, let's come back to Leonardo AI because I reckon we need this as well. So we go and click copy image on that. Come back to the presentation, which is being written right before our eyes. Love it. And steps, call to action, level up, create, cool. Create something else, back to prompt. I don't want to go back to prompt. How do I, now unfortunately my camera is covering part of the screen. I want to add a new slide, and I was able to do it earlier. Okay, add a blank card. Now it'll put it in the wrong spot, but we can drag it to the top and we can come up and click on it. And can I just paste? We certainly can. And we can say Happy Dave behind the scenes. Good. And we'll press this present button and let's see what we get. Now that was not what I wanted. I wonder if I need to make it a little bit smaller. That didn't do anything for me. Okay. So here I can now start talking about, in the next presentation, I can go, hi, it's Happy Dave, and we're doing a behind the scenes video on looking at building requirements documents for micro applications using AI pair programmers, something like that, I don't know. And as we move through, prompt to requirements, so then we can start talking about it. Got my name in there, we got the essential requirements document, the foundation of success, AI's role. So I'd probably need to check all this. I love this gathering, and what a great graphic that it's generated. User goals, app features, technical specifications. But the main one, I think, as we come towards the end of this, is the call to action. So if anyone's interested in working with me, then check out the link down in the description somewhere. To be honest, it's not going to be there because I'm still in the middle of setting up those processes. But if you want to work with me one-on-one, then check out my website, appydave.com, and we can look at a workflow that you're trying to solve. I'm Appy Dave. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. And then we go and finish. Click the finish button. There it is. End the broadcast.